Hello, it's Mr. Turek. I'm going to go over templates in Yearbook Avenue. Templates are pretty great. They do 90% of the work for you. And I'm going to highly recommend we stick to a template group and make sure we keep those design elements within the template consistent if we make new templates for our groups of designs. So if you have a blank page, you just go to designs, and there's all these preset, pre-made template groups that we could use. We could pick and choose from these template groups, and just like use these. Some template groups are have a bit more in them. Let's look at modular templates. There we go, modular templates. Under here, it's pretty straightforward. You just click and drag one of these. These correspond to these under here. So if I want a green module, just go to the green modules. I can just click and drag that over there, and automatically it's got all this stuff ready to go for me. A pretty great way to do it. When these get placed, these are automatically groups. To ungroup, I think it's Shift+Ctrl+G. To group them, it's Ctrl+G. And you can individually edit these inside the group. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Yeah, this process is really easy to use. If you don't like that, you can always use these template groups, and these are pretty useful, I'd say. You just click and drag over. I'm gonna retain none of the existing, and there we go, pre-made template all ready to go and edit. I've already got this page up here with some designs on it. We're not going to save those changes. If I'm making a template from scratch to go with something else, like let's say this is what I want for another page, it's real easy to go, instead of just like hitting the regular save button, you can just go File, Save as Template, give it a name, designate which page it is, test template 3 or 2 or whatever it is. And then under your Designs tab, in the My Templates section, that template will be saved, and you can apply it to the other page. And that's weird that it mirrors it automatically when you apply it to the other side, but I guess it makes sense. Anyway, one of the things you're going to do if you ever design a template or use a template is you're going to maintain the template's hierarchy. The beautiful thing about these pre-made ones is that they are already hierarchical. Wow. Okay. Yep. There it goes. These templates have been designed with the hierarchy pre-made into them. We can tell where the title is. It's the largest text, and there is a contrast of at least twice the size in text. This is twice the size of this. Is twice the size of that. To make sure that we know title is most important, then this is a secondary headline, and then this is the body text. The caption's even smaller, you know, that's the caption. All of this needs to stay consistent. If you're going to have a title, it needs to be 4 times the size of your body text. If you have images, same rule applies. You're going to have an image that is twice to 4 times the size of the next image, is twice to 4 times the size of the next image, so that we know which image is the most important image, the second most important, and third, or least important. This page also has an eyeline. An eyeline is considered sort of like an easy, like left to right organizing element. This would be your eyeline for the spread. Something to sort of direct you from left to right and is consistent throughout. You're going to notice on all these pre-made templates that they almost always have an eyeline. They almost always have a dominant image. They always have a title. I'm going to stress this throughout all of our template design, that each spread needs to have a title. It doesn't necessarily have to have body text in it, but it should have a hierarchy with regards to the images and how they're organized. And the design team is going to get really good at determining hierarchies and making sure each spread has a hierarchy, a visual hierarchy. Another thing these design templates also have is margins. Margins and white space are incredibly important. You need room for your eyes to breathe. If you have a very busy spread, like let's say here, let's look at this design here. You have an extremely busy spread, you want to have margins. You want to have space in between your images, and you want those margins to be consistent. Like for this like little module here, it's very consistent. They're very standardized. Like same distance between here is the same distance between here is the same distance between here. There's plenty of just consistency with the spacing. Or there's generous margins, generous space in between sections to sort of separate them. Like there's more space between this module and this one than there is between the individual elements within this little content module to separate aspects of the page from each other. You don't want to have a template where everything is smashed together and there's no clear hierarchy between what's the most important thing and what's the least important thing. Like this template has less of a hierarchy. I'm not sure what's the most important image on this spread. I don't know like where to look. I guess I look here at this one because this one's number one. It's the biggest, but things aren't aligned, the margins aren't consistent. If you just took the time to like line up each of these images, this could be a really nice spread. But there's some inconsistency here. It's not quite clear what's most important and what order I should go in. All right, let's say we have a bunch of elements on a page. Let's say we want to do a bunch of portraits right in a row. Let's just add a bunch of boxes. All right, we want a bunch of images down the side. Actually, don't need this many. Say we got 4. Okay, we got 4. It's pretty easy to click and drag to select all these. We want them to line up to the side here. We could do that by hand, or you could just click and drag, select all these images. And under the Format tab, you have this alignment section. So if I align left, that'll, if they're out of alignment, let's say, I can align them all to the left using Align Left. The Distribute option is really handy. So if I want them evenly distributed as 4 images along the side here, I just make sure I got my image at the start and at the bottom where I want them. Select all my images and then choose evenly distributed, and that'll automatically space those images apart from each other. Let's say I don't want them spaced like that. Let's say I want them a certain distance, like I want them 1 pica width apart. We're going to check mark this use spacing. I'm going to put in 1 pica. And we're going to click evenly distribute vertically, and it's automatically going to put them 1 pica apart. I would expect you to do this for nearly every single spread you design from scratch, or use it whenever you're adjusting images. If you have images like this, I'm not sure it works quite the same way. Yeah, it doesn't really work the same way. So on complex images like this, it's not going to work as well as it does on rectangles. And why that is, I really don't know. But yeah, that's just how it's going to be. If you wanted even spacing for objects like this, arrange them like this. Hold down the Shift key, click on all of them, hit Ctrl+G to group them, and then take that group and just rotate it. Okay, so there we go. Yeah, anyway. So we have our images like that, and from here we can place our images. The problem is they're going to be rotated as well, so you're going to have to either deal with that or like figure out better ways to organize your images and try to use some creative problem solving to work your way around the design limitations of Yearbook Avenue. Alignment should also be done with these XY, WH settings down here. I really would prefer if instead of you trying to make something the same size by eyeballing it, you go down to WH and you make sure that if you want this to be 13 picas by 13 picas, you manually enter 13 picas into width and height to make sure that it is a square. So that your hierarchy and everything about your design looks nice and clean. One of the last things you can use is guides. Guides are really, really handy. They allow you to line things up without putting much effort into thinking about it. Like let's say I wanted to build out this column and keep it all lined up. I could click and drag from the ruler and I'll have a guide right there. If I wanted to add more images to this, I could continue to drag down guides. And that's an easy way to organize my spread. Like so now I could add, I know it's 2 pica or 2 inches wide, so I can make a box right next to it that's 2 inches wide and fill that with another image or some text and keep my design really, really simple and really straightforward, and just sort of align everything to these guides right here. Like if I wanted another image box, and I wanted this to be my most important image box. Whoops. With guides, you're going to have to, realize that they're always active. To lock them, go to View, Lock Guides, and then you can't click on them. So now I can make this. I can make this my largest image. Nope. So yeah, you're gonna see, pretty frustrating. There we go.